And welcome to the Cellar. I'm your host, Richard Glover, and you're tuned in to another amazing night in the Cellar, where we talk about wine, fashion, and lifestyle. The Cellar is an innovative forum inciting provocative conversation about wine, fashion, and lifestyle. And we always bring into the show relevant individuals that are either wine sommeliers, vineyard owners, or people who are in the wine industry. And you, yourself, the wine enthusiast, the wine connoisseur, the wine person that just love wine. And so every Thursday night, we talk about wine, fashion, and lifestyle. And tonight, I have a really exciting show lined up for you. I have Miss Javette Williams out of Ohio, and Javette is a retired veteran from the Navy. She's also a chemist, and she's also the youth leader for the Calvary Hilltop Methodist Church. I also have Dr. Sylvia T. Morrison, who is still the first African-American female impressionist. She's a comedian, she's an author, and an actress, and she's going to be in the Cellar tonight. And of course, if you notice on our promos, we got a nice little clip about my girl, Glam with Malia. Yes, the question is always asked, where's Malia? Where is Malia? But Malia is in Detroit, and of course, we're going to have her segment again like we normally do tonight as well. And so, but one day, we're going to talk about that. We're going to have Malia in the studio. But tonight is a very special day for me, and I just want to share with you my YouTube followers, my Facebook followers, and my Instagram followers, because I want to tell you that I really appreciate the shout outs, the calls, the texts, because today, a year ago, I lost my mother. So April 1st is not a day of celebration for me anymore, at least, right now, because I'm still, missing my mother. But I want to share with you, because you're my friends and you're my family, that today has been sort of an up and down day. But I wanted to say, for those who reached out, those who shared some love on social media with me and to me, that April 1st is not an April Fool's Day. Now, for those who are listening in on YouTube and those who are viewing on YouTube and Instagram, can you do me a favor? Can you go to text your friends and share the show tonight? Because I also had a hacker to hack into my Facebook page and try to extort me. Yes, it's been one of those days. So we had to delete the personal Facebook page of Richard Glover, and we'll come back up with a new page. And of course, we're going to have to now get back to our 5,000 friends. But we did have to delete that page today because of a hacker and an extortionist that was trying to extort money from me. I don't know why. I don't have a lot of money at all. So, but thank you so much. I just wanted to share that with you. Let's get ready to buckle down and have a great show tonight. Tonight, we're doing the actual first wine tasting of intrinsic wine. And I'm going to tell you how you can get this wine from one of our sponsors, Divine Wine Store in the Washington, D.C. area. So look, don't go nowhere. Don't touch that dial. Share. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe to us. And of course, you will get some great, amazing gifts that we have in line for those who subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't go nowhere. You tune into The Cellar, where we talk about wine, fashion, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Richard Glover.
Women and girls are leaders, change makers, caretakers, and peacekeepers. But while they have an empowered role in our societies, to this day, women and girls are still forced to fight for their rights. How much progress have we achieved, and how much work remains? How can you carry on the fight for equal rights? Women's struggle for equal rights is centuries old. But 1848 marked a watershed moment for women's rights with the Seneca Falls Convention, where women activists publicly petitioned for their civil, social, political, and religious rights. In 1893, New Zealand sent a message to other activists across the world that equal voting rights were achievable through advocacy. Entering the 20th century, women around the world are mobilizing in ever greater numbers to campaign for gender equality. Just as women's role in the labor force is rapidly evolving by opening up options beyond caretaking roles. In 1945, the United Nations is formed in response to the destructive toll of two world wars, and Eleanor Roosevelt oversees the drafting of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. For all the world to hear, she and other advocates underline the place of women's rights within. This sets a foundation for women's rights norms and standards at the international level. In the subsequent decades, just as women are taking historic leadership positions in government, women activists at the grassroots level dovetail with the worldwide momentum by becoming powerful symbols of feminist resistance and social change. This momentum reaches a climax in 1995 when the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action presents a visionary global agenda for women and girls' rights. But in spite of all the progress, as we enter the 21st century, patriarchal stigmas persist and exemplary leaders arise to resist them. With the rise of the digital age, social media emerges as a crucial tool to galvanize populations in the fight against injustice. A single woman's voice is now louder than ever. Grassroots activists trigger social movements online and offline, from cities to villages, inspiring future generations of women and girl leaders. After relentless campaigning, these movements generate changes in policy that signal a true shift in international attitudes and practice towards equal rights. Where are we now? A quarter century after the Beijing Declaration, women and men must mobilize together to overcome the remaining obstacles to gender equality. They must fight for an end to gender-based violence, for access to healthcare, for equal pay, and for equal participation in political life. The ink isn't dry. Be a part of generation equality, and let us continue to write history together.
And welcome to the Cellar. I'm your host, Richard Glover, and you're tuned into another epic night in the Cellar where we talk about wine, fashion, and lifestyle. And I know, we all know that the month of March was Women's History Month, and I had so many amazing women on the show that I kind of like almost overbooked. So I still have some more amazing women to bring on the show. So today I'm extending the show as we honor women that have done some amazing things in history, women who we know about, and even women that we may not know about, but only our communities know about them. And tonight, that brings me to my first guest. And my first guest tonight is Javette Williams. Javette Williams is a Navy veteran, a chemist, and she's the youth leader of the Calvary Hilltop Methodist Church. Hello, can I say cuz?
Yes.
So yes, this is my cousin, for those who may not know, but this is my cousin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cellar for the very first time, and who is an avid supporter of the show, watches it every Thursday night, even when we were a podcast and when we were in another studio. She's always supported and followed, so I just had to share what my cousin is doing to my network of people and to people all around the world, people in Australia, people in California, people in Southeast Asia and Middle East. Welcome, Javette. How are you?
I'm well, and you?
I'm doing well. It's a bittersweet day. April the 1st was the day I had to reach out to all my family members in Ohio and Alabama and Georgia and across the United States and let them know that my mom passed. And, for outside of the family, she was the matriarch of the family at the time. So, it's a bittersweet day. And I've been, but I appreciate all of the love from family. So, thank you. I'm doing great. We're gonna push through this day.
Yes, we push through always.
Absolutely. That's how the Williams are. And we
Yes.
have an amazing amazing history, right? Wow.
Very amazing.
Yeah, so Javette, let's get started. But we're talking about you tonight. Let's talk about, Javette Williams, Navy veteran, chemist, and of course the youth leader for the Calvary Hilltop Methodist Church. So where do we start? Let's talk about what you are doing right now and what you've done for the last 3 years.
So what I'm doing right now is Once you said I'm the youth leader of my church. So what I have is a junior chef program where
Okay.
we teach the children how to cook, but not only how to cook, but teach them the chemistry of cooking.
Wow.
And we teach them how we're not gardeners this year. We've transitioned to farmers.
Wow. That's great.
We were gardening, so I'm teaching them how to compose garden boxes and also do a little work around the farm in our local community.
Wow. So, how is this impacting the youth in that area?
Well, actually, it's helping for their mental health is tremendous
Okay.
because they've never been on a farm before, and so the animals are animals are good indicators of how the children are doing, or it's also to boost up their energy, their mental energy, their emotional energy. And you can
Okay.
see when the kids come out to the farm, they're just excited. They come on, they're leery, but then you just see this burst of energy and excitement coming from these children.
Oh, okay, great. This is amazing because sometimes, and these are inner city youth.
Some are, yes.
Okay, so it doesn't just include the inner city youth; it includes youth all around the area. Okay,
Yes,
wow. And so you're teaching them not only about gardening, but how to farm. And we don't have that many African American farmers. And matter of fact, they've been treated the worst, up until now when this $1.9 trillion bill includes reparations for them or giving them help, you know, during this pandemic
correct.
and even before then, because a lot of the farmers have gone out of business. So this is great, and now they're seeing that there is an industry and there is a career that you can have being a farmer.
Definitely, definitely. And I incorporated my knowledge of chemistry
Okay.
into this program to get them interested in science,
Oh, great.
chemistry in general, in particular. So they're learning about the periodic table and how all of those elements, what we call minerals, are
Hmm.
elements in a different setting,
All right.
and how
Okay.
they're utilized in the soil to come up through our food and give us nourishment.
Oh, okay. Great. So let's hold it on that one there. What happened on the 27th of March? It looked like you had you offered a mental wellness check-in for the junior chefs and farmers.
Yes,
So
yes.
how did that
I
operate?
brought in two clinical psychologists to talk to them about suicide prevention.
Okay.
And in that session, we learned a lot of, coping skills in this time that we call a pandemic.
Right. Right. Wow.
And
So
for
okay.
it seems that, I have a few that are struggling, but for the most part, they're doing well.
Great. Fantastic. So and knowing and watching some of your posts on your Facebook and your social media, you deal a lot with the mental health issues anyway.
Right,
You've been
correct.
in that idiom and been helping folks and creating programs and just making awareness of the mental health issues that are going on, or bringing awareness to mental health.
Well, I appreciate one of the advantages of being a veteran is that the VA pushes mental health
Okay.
for veterans. And in return, I'm just giving back to my community what has been given to me.
Wow, that's interesting. I see also that you're the director of the Outreach Food Ministry.
Yes.
How many people have you off? I mean, if it's okay to ask, on a yearly basis, what do you? How many people do you feed, or do you offer food to on that? I mean, let's talk about pandemic, because a lot of people have jumped in it, and I do know that
Correct.
I've heard that sometimes the churches were late coming into that movement, providing meals for people that needed it, that either had a family member that was suffering or that lost their jobs. And so how is that working for your area and what you're doing and what you provided for those families pre-pandemic, and now that we're in this pandemic, I'm sure the need is even more.
Correct. Well, before the pandemic, I had my junior chef program.
Okay.
And I was teaching them how to cook and giving them food to take home to cook for themselves and their families. So when the pandemic came about, we just increased the amount of food we were giving out.
Okay.
So it went from just the junior chefs to the community.
Wow.
And I've served 150 weekly.
Wow. That's a
Yes,
lot of
and
people.
so actually I would get, so you know how they were just dumping food.
Right.
And
Yes.
sometimes I would get a call, I would get 100 gallons of milk. What I do, I hit the neighborhoods with that milk and I can get rid of that milk in 1 hour.
Wow. Wow.
I just find the children, you can get rid of that milk.
Get rid of that milk. Well, that's some amazing things that you're doing up there in Ohio, and if I'm correct, that's the Lincoln Heights area, right?
Well, yes, I give food in the Lincoln Heights area too. I'm not the one that gives it to the people. I give it to, actually, she's my aunt. I give it to her and she disperses it in the community.
Wow. So it's almost like a family affair. It's always great when you get family to help out, you know?
On this section, because I provide 4 different sites with food.
Wow.
So I'm not just a person that's receiving food and giving out. I am literally a site where I disperse food to 4 other sites.
That's amazing. That is so amazing. Wow. So what's the plan moving forward? Let's say that we're coming out of the pandemic, and what's the plan to kind of make a bigger effect to the community there? You know, are you gonna still continue to run the program? Will you bring new things into the program? Now, I know you talked about the chemistry piece of it. So, are you going to do these students get tutored, or do they learn more about chemistry?
Actually, that's what I'm anticipating, that I will get more chemists on board, so we can do a full curriculum.
Awesome.
Part of what we're doing, our junior chefs, we're part of a program on the farm. They provide 320 crock pot meals across Cincinnati.
Wow.
And what that entails is different groups of people preparing different segments of the crock pot meal. So one group may prepare vegetables such as onion, celery, carrots, and then another group may prepare the meats, and then another group prepare spices. Spices is our specialty.
Okay.
And so we put our spice bags together, and that's teaching them discipline, concentration, and they're learning about the spices and how to, integrate them into different meals.
That's amazing.
And so what we do is on Sunday, I then take the spices that my junior chefs have put together, and I go to the farm and I help assemble 320 bags that are then disseminated into the community. And 90 of those bags go to homeless shelters, which is why I was really wanted to get involved with that, because that would be still another way to feed the homeless.
Absolutely. Wow. Doing a great job there, Javette. Don't go nowhere. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to bring in my girl from Detroit, Malia. And I want you to stay there with us, because I want to just let all of our listeners and viewers know that we still have an amazing show. We've been talking to Javette Williams, who I'm just going to boast on my chest. That's my cousin doing some amazing things in Cincinnati. I have a lot of family in Cincinnati, and doing some amazing things with the Junior Chef program, and not only just helping families, but helping homeless people. Sometimes we get so quick to help those who are in need, but what about those who are in real need? And when I say real need, it's no real difference, but that when you're homeless, that's just a little bit more than a person who does have a home but have a need, but you don't have a home and have a need. And sometimes we forget all about them. Don't go nowhere. You tune into The Cellar, where we talk about wine, fashion, and lifestyle. And tonight, we will be talking about the eccentric wines and how to get those wines. And we're going to taste the Cabernet Sauvignon of 2016 tonight. So don't go nowhere. Don't touch that dial. We're going to go for a quick break, and we're going to get my girl Malia into the Zoom. And we also have a comedian that's going to be joining us, Dr. Sylvia Traymore, later on throughout the show. Don't go nowhere. You're tuned in to The Cellar, where we talk about wine, fashion, and lifestyle.
On March 3, 1913, protesters parted for the woman in white. Dressed in a flowing cape and sitting astride a white horse, the activist, Inez Milholland, was hard to miss. She was riding at the helm of the Women's Suffrage Parade, the first mass protest for a woman's right to vote on a national scale. After months of strategic planning and controversy, thousands of women gathered in Washington, D.C. Here, they called for a constitutional amendment granting them the right to vote. By 1913, women's rights activists had been campaigning for decades. As a disenfranchised group, women had no voice in the laws that affected their or anyone else's lives. However, they were struggling to secure broader support for political equality. They'd achieved no major victories since 1896, when Utah and Idaho enfranchised women. That brought the total number of states which recognized a woman's right to vote to 4. A new media-savvy spirit arrived in the form of Alice Paul. She was inspired by the British suffragettes, who went on hunger strikes and endured imprisonment in the early 1900s. Rather than conduct costly campaigns on a state-by-state basis, Paul sought the long-lasting impact of a constitutional amendment which would protect women's voting rights nationwide. As a member of the National American Women's Suffrage Association, Paul proposed a massive pageant to whip up support and rejuvenate the movement. Washington authorities initially rejected her plan and then tried to relegate the march to side streets. But Paul got those decisions overturned and confirmed a parade for the day before the presidential inauguration of Woodrow Wilson. This would maximize media coverage and grab the attention of the crowds who would be in town. However, in planning the parade, Paul mainly focused on appealing to white women from all backgrounds, including those who were racist. She actively discouraged African American activists and organizations from participating, and stated that those who did so should march in the back. But black women would not be made invisible in a national movement they helped shape. On the day of the march, Ida B. Wells Barnett, a groundbreaking investigative journalist and anti-lynching advocate, refused to move to the back and proudly marched under the Illinois banner. The co-founder of the NAACP, Mary Church Terrell, joined the parade with 22 founders of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, an organization created by female students from Howard University. In these ways and more, black women persevered despite deep hostility from white women in the movement, and at great political and physical risk. On the day of the parade, suffragists assembled to create a powerful exhibition. The surging sections of the procession included international suffragists, artists, performers, and business owners. Floats came in the form of golden. The marchers carried on even as a mob blocked the route, hurling insults and spitting at women, tossing cigars, and physically assaulting participants. The police did not intervene, and in the end, over 100 women were hospitalized. Their mistreatment, widely reported throughout the country, catapulted the parade into the public eye and garnered suffragists greater sympathy. National newspapers lambasted the police, and congressional hearings investigated their actions during the parade. After the protest, the Women's Journal declared, "Washington has been disgraced. Equal suffrage has scored a great victory." In this way, the march initiated a surge of support for women's voting rights that endured in the coming years. Suffragists kept up steady pressure on their representatives, attended rallies, and petitioned the White House. Inez Milholland, the woman on the white horse, campaigned constantly throughout the United States, despite suffering from chronic health problems. She did not live to see her efforts come to fruition. In 1916, she collapsed while giving a suffrage speech and died soon after. According to popular reports, her last words were, "Mr. President, how long must women wait for liberty?" Though full voting inclusion would take decades, in 1920, Congress ratified the 19th Amendment, finally granting women the right to vote. When we make videos about the history of justice, we often wonder, what's next? Luckily for us, within our community, there is a chorus of young voices demanding a brighter future. Check out some of these ideas on the TED-Ed Student Talks YouTube channel, or visit ed.ted.com/Student Talks to learn more about the program.
And welcome back to the Cellar. I'm your host, Richard Glover. You're tuned into another amazing night in the Cellar. And what I want to do right now, before I bring Malia back in, I want to talk a little bit about the wine that's going to be the wine, the tasting for tonight. So we're going to hold tight on Malia, and we're going to go straight to the wine. And I want to bring up the image. This is Intrinsic Wine. Okay, so intrinsic wine emerged as a new kind of wine, a challenger to the industry that's willing to challenge everything. How wine is made, how it looks, how it's enjoyed. If you want to change something, you must challenge everything. Known only as Zemir, the elusive Brooklyn street artist lent his artistry to the label using a technique called wow style. Like the urban art that inspires, intrinsic is a reminder that art born in the city is meant to be shared. Now, Intrinsic is proud also to be supporter of GLAAD, GLAAD, and the LGBTQ plus community. Tonight, when we talk about the wine and we do the wine tasting, we're going to do the tasting of a wine out of the Columbia Valley in the state of Washington. In 2017, the vintage of Eccentric has a wonderful floral nose, complemented by aromas of cherry and leather. The flavors are layered with tones of blueberry, jam, pomegranate, and chocolate. The texture is rustic yet silky, with a unique, savory, and inviting finish. So tonight, when we do the tasting, we're going to taste the Cabernet Sauvignon, the Eccentric out of Columbia Valley, Cabernet Sauvignon 2016. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the studio. The one and only, straight out of, well, she's not in Vegas anymore, my girl, Glenn with Malia. Malia, hey, how are you?
Hi, good and you?
Awesome. I'm doing great, Good to see you back at home.
Yes, I miss being at home, but I also miss being in Vegas as well.
Oh, wow. I saw your pictures. It looked like you was all over the place,
Yes, I was.
Gotta love Vegas. Gotta love Vegas. I've been there a couple of times, and I've enjoyed 80-degree weathers with no heat, no real heavy heat, no real sun burning down on you, just that no wind blowing, just that great weather out there, So, Malia, what do you have for us?
So you're talking about spring. So it's gonna be spring.
Hey, hold up for a second, Malia. We're having some audio technical.
About spring.
Hi. Okay, you will come right back to Malia. We're having some audio technical problems, but it's okay. Javette, you still there? Yeah, there she is. Glad you're still there, Javette. So let's talk a little bit more. We're having a little bit of difficulty. Can we hear you, Javette?
Can you hear me?
Hi, Javette, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome, great. We're having a little bit technical difficulties audio, but that's okay. So let's go back and talk some more about what are you doing in this great city of Cincinnati. And I know there's some history there with our family too, if you don't mind sharing.
Well, where we set roots it's a city called Lincoln Heights. It wasn't called Lincoln Heights when we settled there. So we got there in the 20s. So we were the second family there in Lincoln Heights. And then this place called Lincoln Heights is an all-black community. It's the first all-black municipality above the Mason-Dixon line.
Wow.
And my great-grandparents, your great-uncle, your grandfather's brother,
right,
played an integral role in creating this community.
Wow.
There's a lot of us there. Usually when people think of Lincoln Heights, they tend to want to mention the Isley brothers, Nikki Giovanni, and those kinds of people. We have a lot of famous football players that come out of Lincoln Heights, but we also have doctors, lawyers, all kinds of professionals that come out of Lincoln Heights.
Awesome.
My grandfather was a farmer. He owned land there in Lincoln Heights, along with a lot of our family members. Actually, there are 2 streets in Lincoln Heights should just be called Williams.
That's right. We need to work on that with the city council and say that they need to rename those streets.
Yes, they need to rename those streets. My grandfather was I guess you would say, a garbage collector.
Okay. That's
So this was before Rumpke, the main company that's running the show, took over. But
right.
he was there doing all of that. He owned a farm, and actually there is I don't want to say it's a project ish kind of
Okay.
apartment complex that is still named after his farm, which is
Wow.
called Oak Park. I don't
Okay.
think a lot of people are aware of that.
Wow. Okay. So now,
Yes.
if my corrections are right, and since we are doing an extension of Women's History Month, there
Mhm.
is a family member that's noted. I think a couple of she's did a couple of things right.
Yes. Which family member are you
I
talking
think I think
about?
was it Pearlie?
Hmm?
Was it someone named Pearlie or Pearl?
But Pearl Williams?
Yes.
That's my great grandmother.
Right.
Owned
Okay.
a lot of property. Yes.
Okay. Well, now, isn't there something I know? I've been seeing posts about a home that was used to be Nikki Giovanni's home, or where she
Oh,
grew up.
yes. Actually, that home is my second cousin now lives in that home, and we have several family members that live in that general area. And
Okay.
they were just regular neighbors,
Wow.
interacting with each other all the time. Actually, when I was growing up, I had to learn about Nikki Giovanni at school, but
Really?
I didn't realize our cousin Gene Jenkins was like one of the main barbers there, and he owned a lot of property too. Um, I didn't realize that this lady whose hair he was cutting on Saturdays was Nikki.
Wow.
Because I'd never seen a picture of her at school when they just said her name, Nikki Giovanni,
Right.
poet, and
Right.
that's it. But I never knew that was the lady.
I tell you. Wow. So there's so much history in that area that I'm glad to be a part of as a member of the Williams family. And again, like I said, you're doing some great things. We have another cousin up there. I remember it had to be maybe not the last election cycle, but prior to that, because I had her here in Washington, D.C.
Sure.
Yvette
You talking
Simpson.
about Beth Simpson?
Yes, yes. She
Beth
was.
Simpson, yes. That's our younger cousin. She actually she started out in Lincoln Heights
Okay.
trying to work with them. Then she progressed into the city of Cincinnati, where she has done amazing things, and she continues to do amazing things. Very proud of her.
Yeah, she was responsible for that sort of the reinvention of the streetcar, if my corrections right, or the street bus, or
Oh yes, she
yeah,
played an integral role in that. Yes,
awesome.
getting the streetcar up and
William
running.
William ladies doing some amazing things in Cincinnati area. We have a lot of cousins that are females that are doing some amazing things, and I'm gonna just shout them all out. Thank them so much for the things they do for their community and for their family. Javette, you're doing amazing things up there with the youth and with the farming, and teaching them about farming and making it more, giving them a better understanding about it, and opening up possible doors for them to go into the industry and have a better idea. And then, of course, feeding families and feeding the homeless. You guys are doing some amazing things.
Exactly, and we will continue. That's a legacy that I've inherited, and I will pass it on to the next generation.
Well, we shout out to you. We celebrate you here on the Cellar as a.
Oh, I know. I forgot to tell you something.
Yes.
And in my serving in the community, I speak Spanish, so the Spanish community, their service in their language. They don't have to worry about me stumbling over words, talking loudly, as if I spoke a little louder, they can understand me
Okay.
better. So
So you speak Spanish?
yes.
Wow.
But my daughter speaks it better than I do.
Okay. And again, a Navy veteran
Yes.
in the Navy, doing some amazing things there. Javette, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. I'm not going to hold you any longer. We're going to get through the rest of the show here with Glenn from Malia. You're doing some amazing things. Let's stay in touch, to stay tuned, to see what's going on with the programs. This is my extension of Women's History Month, and I want to salute you, Javette Williams, Navy
Yes,
veteran, chemist, and youth leader in her church, for doing some amazing things. We salute you here at the Cellar for doing the Women's History Month. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. We're going to go now to our girl, Glam from Malia. I think Malia, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. There we go. We got you. We got the audio fixed.
Yes, finally.
So, Malia, what do you have for us from Glam with Malia?
Yes, so I will still be talking about spring, but it's going to be for the women especially. It's going to be spring accessories. Obviously, all girls love those like floppy beach hats, cute tank tops, accessories such as like necklaces, earrings, bracelets, and they are really cute and they are really in style, especially for this summer. So I did some research and I found some places that have really good, cute accessories that are affordable and they look so amazing. So usually I buy really cute ankle bracelets from Shein. I also am a brand ambassador as well. So if you guys are interested in buying something, feel free to message me or message Richard. And this is one of their bracelets that's really cute. It's got like little starfish. Starfish and diamonds are totally in for this season. They're really cute with like capris, a sundress, something cute like that, especially if you're going on vacation or you just want to look good for the summer, because I feel like everybody wants to look good for the summer. They do have really good deals. Sometimes you can get like a pack of 4 for like $3 or $4, depending on what you're looking for. H&M does also have really cute ankle bracelets and kind of like really cute ankle bracelets and necklaces that match. So, you can coordinate your outfits. If you're wearing a starfish outfit with a really cute tank top, you can do like a little I forget what they're called, but like when you're in the hospital, like a heartbeat, like a little stroke up and down. It's super cute with like shoes, flip-flops. I mean, I'm obsessed. I really love ankle bracelets. That's like one of my favorite parts of spring and summer. They also have really cute rings where you can get like your initials on them with a little diamond, like stuff cute like that. Because I know girls love to dress up, especially for any occasion, like pageantry, or, if you want to put a little bling on your fingers, especially when you get those white nails done, those rings would be perfect. They go up above your knuckle, a little dainty, makes them look really good. I know girls love accessories and it's so hard to find them sometimes for a really good deal, and that is something you're looking for and it's super cute. So I would definitely check out Shein and H&M. Obviously H&M has really good deals, and Shein, all of my friends, all my pageant girls are obsessed with Shein. So yeah, if you are interested in buying them, like I said before, be sure to message me on my Instagram, which is MaliaL16, and I can totally send you my link, and then you can get some coupons and then discounts off as well.
Awesome. Do you have any? I don't know if I saw any images. I think you had a couple of images of your. Okay, my bad. So Malia, everybody's asking the question: when are you coming in the cellar?
Yes, I'm super excited. I really want to come down. Still figuring out some days, but we should figure out pretty soon because I would love to be on the show. I want to check out the new studio, and obviously we're going to have a rockin' show, and I'm super excited about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Malia. So glad, Malia is an amazing young lady, so, we appreciate everything you do for the cellar.
Oh, thank you for having me. I love it.
And anything for next week? I'm always jumping to next week. What do we have for next week? If you want to give us a little snippet of it.
Sure, of course. So since I did a lot of women's clothes and stuff like that, I'm going to give the guys a little tips on if you're going golfing, what good brands to wear, sunglasses, stuff like that, especially stuff from H&M, shoes,
Awesome. So fellas, don't go nowhere. You need to tune in next week to the Cellar so that you'll find out what to wear, like I do, like I know. Okay? Great. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the intrinsic wines from the Columbia Valley, the Cabernet Sauvignon 2016. Don't go nowhere. Don't touch that dial. You're tuned into the Cellar with Richard Glover, where we talk about wine, fashion, and lifestyle.
Women and girls are leaders, change makers, caretakers, and peacekeepers. But while they have an empowered role in our societies, to this day, women and girls are still forced to fight for their rights. How much progress have we achieved? And how much work remains? How can you carry on the fight for equal rights? Women's struggle for equal rights is centuries old. But 1848 marked a watershed moment for women's rights with the Seneca Falls Convention, where women activists publicly petitioned for their civil, social, political, and religious rights. In 1893, New Zealand sent a message to other activists across the world that equal voting rights were achievable through advocacy. Entering the 20th century, women around the world are mobilizing in ever greater numbers to campaign for gender equality, just as women's role in the labor force is rapidly evolving by opening up options beyond caretaking roles. In 1945, the United Nations is formed in response to the destructive toll of 2 world wars, and Eleanor Roosevelt oversees the drafting of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. For all the world to hear, she and other advocates underline the place of women's rights within. This sets a foundation for women's rights norms and standards at the international level. In the subsequent decades, just as women are taking historic leadership positions in government, women activists at the grassroots level dovetail with the worldwide momentum by becoming powerful symbols of feminist resistance and social change. This momentum reaches a climax in 1995 when the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action presents a visionary global agenda for women and girls' rights. But in spite of all the progress, as we enter the 21st century, patriarchal stigmas persist and exemplary leaders arise to resist them. With the rise of the digital age, social media emerges as a crucial tool to galvanize populations in the fight against injustice. A single woman's voice is now louder than ever. Grassroots activists trigger social movements online and offline, from cities to villages, inspiring future generations of women and girl leaders. After relentless campaigning, these movements generate changes in policy that signal a true shift in international attitudes and practice towards equal rights. Where are we now? A quarter century after the Beijing Declaration, women and men must mobilize together to overcome the remaining obstacles to gender equality. They must fight for an end to gender-based violence, for access to healthcare, for equal pay, and for equal participation in political life. The ink isn't dry. Be a part of Generation Equality, and let us continue to write history together.
And welcome back to the Cellar. I'm your host, Richard Glover, and you're tuned into another epic night in the Cellar, where we talk about wine, fashion, and lifestyle. Earlier on in the show, we talked to Javette Williams, who's actually one of my cousins, who lives in the Lincoln Heights, Cincinnati area of Lincoln Heights, Lincoln Heights of Cincinnati. And we found out a lot about my family there. We found out a lot about some amazing things that she's doing in that community, and not just in that community, but throughout the whole Cincinnati, Ohio area. And of course, you know, we talked to Malia, and she talked about spring accessories for women. And next week, she's going to talk about what men can wear, like if they're going to the golf course, or if they're going to go to a night out, or anything that you can do. Like every once in a while, it's okay, guys, to wear a little handkerchief up here, you know, or put that blazer on with the blue slacks and stuff. But what I want to do right now is talk about eccentric wines. And like I mentioned earlier, eccentric wines is a Cabernet Sauvignon 2016, and it's from a company called Eccentric, and this is the Illicit Project. And so, like I mentioned earlier, you know, the wines are coming out now that's going to challenge and change the way things are done, the way wine is made, the way wine is produced, the way it tastes. So if you want to, and I like their motto that says that if you want to see change, then you got to be able to be challenged to be able to make change. Because anything you want to change, or you want to make change in an industry or anything that you like, and even on yourself, there's a challenge to making that change. And that's what I like about this wine. And what I'm going to do right now is my normal wine tasting, what I normally do on the show, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about this wine. Again, this wine has tones of blueberry jams, pomegranates, and chocolate. It's got a nice rustic but yet silky taste to it, and its unique savory taste is very inviting to the finish. So, by doing that, I'm going to tell you what we normally do for a technical wine tasting. We look into the glass. You like to see, I always call it the 3 C's: color, content, and clarity. And then we take and do a nice nose. We put the nose into the glass, smell for the first time, and then you swirl it. You swirl it so you can kind of open up. Wine opens up over 100 times from the time it leaves the bottle to it gets, whether you put it in a decanter, whether you put it in a wine glass. Okay, and now you want to smell it again. Yes, I could smell the blueberry jams. I could smell the pomegranate in there. Now, let's do for the taste. There's 3 types of taste in wine. There's the first taste when it touches the tip of your tongue. Then there's the second taste when it lays for 10 to 13 seconds on your palate. And that way you get to taste the silkiness of it. If it's rustic, if it's going to have a nice finish, you'll know that you even begin to taste some of the ingredients in the wine itself. Now let's do the taste. So yes, the rusticness is there. It's very rustic. Well, not a lot. It's medium type rustic, but it has a silky smooth to it, feel to it. And the finish is very short. It's not a long finish. So I would say it's about it's a Cabernet Sauvignon, and a Cabernet Sauvignon can go from medium bodied to almost full, but it's mostly a medium bodied wine. What would I drink? What would I pair this with? I would pair it. Now this is interesting. I would pair this with some spicy chicken wings. Yes, spicy chicken wings that have a little bit of the green peppers and stuff on it, because you got that. You want to balance the taste all the way through along with your meal. Of course, everybody knows you can drink red wine with veal, steak, a nice spicy gourmet hamburger. It goes along with a lot of that. You can even, I would even taste this with a nice shrimp. For those who like shrimp, this type of shrimp cocktails, you can taste this and have this wine with that. Now, I want to tell you how you can reach out to one of my sponsors at Divine Store. It's Divine Wine Store up in Washington, D.C. at 1303 14th Street, Northwest Washington. And they're going to be sponsoring for some of the wines that we taste on the show moving forward. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a discount code for you, and we'll release that discount code tomorrow in a promo, and you'll be able to go and get the wine and have it shipped to you for free in the Washington, D.C. area, or you can go to the store, Divine, and get the wine yourself so that you can taste with us while we're on the show next Thursday. So I want to tell you, this is an amazing opportunity with the Cellar that we've partnered with, Divine Wine Store, and we'll be able to bring to you different types of wine from different regions of the United States and of the world. So remember, if you want to get this eccentric Cabernet Sauvignon 2016, you can go to 1303 14th Street, Northwest Washington, D.C., and ask for George. Or you can go onto their website, divine.com, and you can go and you can order the wine there, and they'll ship it to you in the Washington, D.C. area. I want to really thank them for partnering with us and providing the wine for our tasting tonight. I tell you, I want to do some shout-outs. We're almost done with the show, but I want to do some shout-outs to a very good friend of mine, Joe Conwell. Joe's dad is in the hospital in the Virginia Beach area, and Joe's birthday was a couple of days ago. It was last Thursday, actually, and we didn't get a chance to shout out Birthday Joe and his wife, Sandra. They're very good friends of mine. They're always supportive of the show. They follow the show. Sometimes we get together and we go to different wineries and taste the wines, and they come up with suggestions, and they always questioning me about my education and knowledge about wine, which is good. It keeps me on my P's and toes. So I want to shout out to Joe Conwell and let him know, first of all, happy birthday, another 365 days. And also we're praying for your dad, that he recovers from the surgery and you have a speedy recovery and that the procedure is a successful procedure. Also, I want to shout out to my good friends in Australia, Paul and Karen Robinson. Yes, They're in the down low, the Barossa Valley area of Australia. They follow the show. They've been following me for the last 5 or 6 years since we've met. School teachers in the public school system, but of course, avid wine connoisseurs know their wine, and they always follow the show. They follow me from podcasts to radio, internet radio, to now TV, internet TV shows. So I want to shout out to Paul and Karen Roberson. I want to shout out to my friends in Indonesia. Fee is in. I'm saying names kind of wrong tonight, but Fee is in Indonesia. Principal at one of the private schools there, also following me on the show. Thank you so much for your support. I want to shout out to my friends and my family for following the show, and everybody that follows the show. All of my friends and everywhere in the Washington D.C. area and the DMV, including Maryland and Virginia. My friends in California, my friends in New York and Florida. The Miss Bikini pageant, which is coming to Miami in 2021 in July. I just want to thank everybody for supporting me. And again, I tell you, today has been a really tough day for me because the day was a year ago I lost my mom, and I really appreciate everybody and all the churches, Paramount Baptist and St. Stephen Baptist, for being there along my side. I just tell you, I've been blessed to be able to do this show, and I'm going to continue to bring you good and great content here at the Cellar, where we talk about wine, fashion, and lifestyle. And I have some amazing guests coming in April. Yes, we got still doing some things for women, because there's some amazing women doing things out there in their communities. A lot of women have books out now. A lot of women are starring in movies. And we'll also be celebrating 11 years doing the Cellar. That's right. So coming up in May, we're going to invite some of our former guests, that were here on the show. We've had Kenny Wesley, we've had Boney James, we've had Tracy Braxton, we've had Funny Man Skiba. So we're going to bring a lot of the people back to the Cellar to help us celebrate our 11 years of doing the Cellar, and now from a internet radio show to an actual internet TV network. I want to thank the LeBron Studios and the owner, Darrell Owens, and of course his COO. She's Tori. I know you're out there watching the show, and my amazing engineer. And I'm gonna say this very slowly, Afiba. So I want to make sure I say his name. We're in the Cellar, where we talk about wine, fashion, and lifestyle. Next week, we're going to have an amazing show. Stay tuned. We got a nice promote. We want to thank Errol Rush, the Errol Rush Media Joint, for doing our promos for us. Things are just falling in place. I tell you, when you believe in God and you put God first in everything that you do, God will give you the desires of your hearts. And God will give you those things that you need and help you by giving you strength to be able to conquer anything that comes your way. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is April the 1st, 2021. We got some amazing things coming up in April. Like I said, stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. Don't touch that dial. Every Thursday night from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m., tune in on our Facebook fan page. Tune in on our Instagram fan page. Tune in on our YouTube Live. And tell somebody. And while you're at it, for those who are watching on YouTube, go to that little red button there where it says subscribe. And do me a favor and subscribe. And I promise you, we're going to start giving out some of the amazing Cellar gifts that we have. The Cellar bag, carry-all bag, the Cellar wine decanter, the Cellar luggage bag, the Cellar dog tag, the Cellar face mask. We still got those. We're going to be giving them out. And we're going to also put them up on our website. But I tell you, again, I'm excited. Thank you, God. Thank you, those who support me. And I will support you in return. You're tuned in to the Cellar, where we talk about wine, fashion, and lifestyle. And like I always say, take time, enjoy fine wine, and we'll see you next time in the Cellar.